Oh, good. You're already done. All right. Got it. Okay. So I am going to pull up a PowerPoint. If everyone give me just a little bit of grace, I am trying to figure out. I'm actually not at my normal workstation. I'm sitting in a community college president's office running this meeting today up in Port Angeles. And so I am really trying to figure out how to look at my notes as well as the presentation when I'm doing it on this laptop. So give me just a sec. Share screen. I wonder. All right, I'm trying, guys. Here, just one sec. Custom slideshow. There's a slideshow. But now I need to share my screen. So I'm sure someone has some smart way for me to do this, but I cannot seem to figure it out.
If you want to just send me the PowerPoint, I can do it for you.
Just go through each slide.
I mean, that works too.
And let me
Yeah, right now we can
see all the notes.
We can see it with the notes, which
Yeah.
is doable if that's all you can do. But if you probably go from the beginning, it'll pop up into the presentation.
Right.
And
But then I can't see my notes.
so you can send it to, if you can send it to me, I can present it for
Okay.
you.
Okay, thank you. Let's do that, you guys.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll be with you all in just a minute.
Yep, sorry. Just one sec here.
I don't mean to speak for the group, but I'm not a fancy person. If you want to just put the slides the way you have it, you know.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we could do it that way.
Whatever you're most comfortable with, Rachel.
Okay, we'll just share the slides and do it this way. So, let's go ahead and do that. So hopefully everyone can see the screen, and I'll try to zoom in a little bit.
we can't see it right now.
Right. I'm pulling it back up. So give me just one sec. There it is. Share. Okay. All right, guys. So here is what we've got. So welcome. I wanted to do introductions. Let's go ahead and actually have introductions from folks on the phone, just because so I can write down who we have here and be able to document some of the dialogue. So if I can, let's see, I'll go ahead and go through the participant list and just call on people. But I've got Kara Towel, and if you could just introduce yourself and say where you're from, that would be great.
Yeah, hi, I'm Kara.
Oh, we lost you, Kara.
Yeah, I think you went back on mute. Kara, which organization are you from? Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna move on. How about GLM Consulting?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jillian Marshall. I am in Seattle proper. And is that all you wanted to know, Rachel? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Just
cool.
anything you can share anything, of course. But how about Helen?
Hi there. I truly apologize. I am actually in London right now and it's just really late. But I'm coming in because I really want to attend the conference, and I'm with the Treatment Implementation Collaborative, and we're based in Seattle.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us from London. I appreciate it. I wish I was over there joining in as well. So how about Jonathan?
Hi, everybody. Jonathan Hassig. I'm here in California, and I'm with Coursera.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I was meant to say anything else.
That's good.
Okay.
You're good. So Jonathan, and then Ken.
Hi, I'm Ken Schlegel, and I'm with Therapeutic Health Services.
Okay. And Michael. No, Michael. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Rachel. Yeah, Michael Price with Relias.
Okay. And Rachel Bryan.
Hi there, I'm Rachel Bryan. I'm the Research Program Manager at the Spirit Lab, which stands for Supporting Psychosis Innovation Through Research, Implementation, and Training at the University of Washington.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Hopefully I don't butcher this, but Rashawn.
Rashawn Ringley, LMFT, and with the Dev Project.
Okay. And Sarah. Sarah might have
Sarah,
stepped.
you're muted.
Oh,
Oh.
dang it. You know, that doesn't usually happen to me. Hi, I already know some folks here. I'm Sarah Daly, my pronouns are she and they, and I'm here with Connected Perspectives.
Okay. All right. Welcome, Sarah. And then Shannon.
Yeah, hi, I'm Shannon Stewart. I'm also with the Spirit Lab, same as Rachel Bryan there, and I'm a trainer on the team.
Awesome. And who did we not get? So is it Sheik?
Yeah, Sheikh.
Sheikh. Hey.
Sheikh from Valley Cities here in King County.
Okay. And Tracy.
Yes, hi. I am from the Dev Project on Vashon Island.
All righty. Okay, well, welcome. Did I miss anyone? If so, you could unmute and introduce yourselves. All right. Okay, let's see. Hopefully you guys can so when I'm screen sharing, can you actually see when I pull up the participants and things like that? Are you guys seeing that as well?
No,
just
just
the
your
PowerPoint.
slides.
Okay, excellent. Okay, good. Because I was like, I don't know if I can, monitor the chat and
I'll monitor the chat, Rachel, and I'll let you
okay.
ask questions.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Andrea. All right, well, let's go ahead and just get started. We're just gonna, I already introduced each of the people who are kind of leading and will be facilitating, and helping today, myself and Andrea and Brian. A little bit about this RFP. So, on March, so just to kind of give you guys a background that back in 2021, the American Rescue Plan Act was signed into law, which is really what they call the COVID-19 funding. It was given out in various ways across, different avenues, and streams of money went to state agencies as well as local agencies, and King County was actually given a distribution directly. And we were the Behavioral Health and Recovery Division of King County was actually given an allocation to help support workforce projects across our programs. And so just a little bit about ARPA funding, just to make sure everyone is kind of clear that ARPA funds actually have very specific reporting and documentation requirements. There's kind of a more intense invoicing process than normal other RFPs or procurements that we might have. Expenses paid for by ARPA funds cannot also be paid by other funds. And so there are some different requirements that will be attached to this funding that I want to make sure everyone is aware. There are, when the time comes, there are trainings that will be required for anyone who would be, receiving this funding. And so just to kind of a little bit of background on the RFP, that, as a response to emergent needs for local workforce initiatives, we were the KCICN, and I'll talk about what that is in a second, but the Behavioral Health and Recovery Division was actually given a portion of this funding. And, you know, the intent of this funding is really to provide resources for behavioral health workforce training that will stabilize and sustain the network that we have in place. And I'll talk about that network. Most of you may already know what that network is, but for those who don't, we want to make sure we give a little background on that. So this investment really is hopefully going to strengthen the ability for King County Integrated Care Network providers and to help respond to workforce challenges and the increased demand due to COVID-19 pandemic. There will be, the purpose of it will really be to support training and promote stabilization across the network and the workforce. Trainings will be offered to help address the immediate need of the network of providers. And there's approximately about $1.3 million associated to this RFP in total. Let's see. So what is the King County Integrated Care Network for those who might not have any of that information? It really is a strategic partnership, a 50-50 partnership between King County and then the local behavioral health providers. And it really is a participatory governance. So we often have, we have network providers involved in decision making. And so a network management model that provides significant administrative simplification for providers and managed care plans. So there's also some coordination there with delivery of services and managed care plans. And then it's a public and private partnership that allows for braiding of funding. So Medicaid, local, and state funding sources, all are resourced and provided through this kind of network. Let's see. So the KCIN has been really a proactive solution to creatively respond to some of the managed care expectation. And it's one of the, I know that the King County Integrated Care Network is one of the first of its kind, in recent integration efforts across the state, really an effort to create a community between the local providers as well as the local county and the way that we get things out. So here's some of the different providers that work all in tandem with each other. It's not everybody. So if you're not on there, don't shoot the messenger. I stole the slide from someone. But ultimately, just to give you an idea that there are lots of different people, almost 44 or so agencies that belong to the King County Integrated Care Network. Most of those are Medicaid providers or associated with, Medicaid funding. And they encompass all kinds of a continuum of inpatient and outpatient community behavioral health resources. So the desired outcomes or the workforce development, for this whole RFP really is this. So it really is targeted around workforce development stabilization. And so we hope to be able to get out of this high quality and easy accessible training resources, the ability to provide staff that are some required skills for their work. We hope to, the ultimate outcome here would be really to provide training that will help our workforce decrease stress, improve retention, increase competence and confidence, but really, something that will allow for our staff to get to feel supported and get good training resources for them. The minimum eligible criteria for this, and I'm going to make this bigger, but for a training organization to apply, you really have to have established experience in subject matter expertise in providing training in whatever area that you select, the ability to provide high quality didactics for use in training that can be incorporated or delivered through, a Be Heard approved training delivery platform. So there will be a platform that all trainings will need to be kind of delivered through. An established experience in designing training programs that are sustainable for organizations that receive the training. And for CBT and DBT training programs, established experience with training future trainers in the intervention. So people who have, have actually established train the trainer curriculum. So sorry guys, commitment to, and also minimum eligibility really is, of course, a commitment to equity and social justice. And really a commitment to institutional and systemic racism. So that's a big part of the work we do here at King County, and that needs to be considered in as we go forward working with partners. So the available funding for this RFP is about $1.3 million. Organizations can apply for up to $400,000 for each for the DBT training, and $400,000 up to $400,000 for the CBTP training. Organizations can apply for up to about $250,000 for the other two specific trainings, the clinical core competencies suite of trainings and the management academy suite of trainings. The funding period for right now is October 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2024. This funding period is actually really attached to the fact that these are COVID dollars, and that they have a very specific spend date. And there is the possibility that there would be some decisions where as long as the money is out and in contract before December 31st, 2024, there is a possibility of it being continued to be expended through 2026. There's no guarantees because those decisions still haven't been made by the King County Council. Applicants are expected to include, for now, a 16-month budget covering your goals, activities, and outcomes. And I'll stop there and ask if there are any questions. Can't see faces.
Hi, this is Helen. I am going to stay off camera if that's okay. Could you tell me what platforms you are using, or that are King County approved platforms for delivery of training?
Sure. Currently, I will say I don't have the full answer to this, and but currently we do work with Relias as a training platform. And so that's a possibility of a platform. But Brian, do you know of the other platforms, or should we just get back to them in writing with this question?
I do not know of other platforms. I think what we are looking at is if you say we were to use Relias, it would be an expanded use of Relias from what we currently have. And so details of that need to be worked out. I don't think people should stress overly much maybe about this part. I think, if it's Relias or if it's a different platform, I think it typically would just involve like being able to provide recorded trainings that could be incorporated as part of that. I don't think there needs to be, as far as I know, at least, additional like technical expertise in terms of like working with a particular platform. King County certainly would be helping, making sure it can be integrated. I think we're mostly just wanting folks to be aware we are wanting to provide, some of this training through a learning management system platform like Relias.
Right.
Thank you.
Similar question to jump off of Helen's is there anything outlined so far that's kind of covering or speaking to any licensing agreements? Because I know that there can be concerns around grants of rights when someone's materials are being used but moved over into another organization's internal management systems. Or learning management systems, I should say.
Sure. No, at this point in time, I will say that we have not outlined those licensing agreements. However, we have discussed it is a possibility. And so I will, yeah, that's the answer to that question. At this time, we have not determined that. I will see if I can get you a better answer for you. So just so you all know, and I want to kind of preface that Brian and myself are both fairly new to King County and this RFP process. What I can tell you is that as the program lead for this, that each of these questions that are asked on this call or on this conference will be documented, written, and the answers will be submitted back to everyone and added to the RFP so that everyone has the same information. So if there's further information I need to gather, I will add that to the written response.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, I know it's just a shorter timeline, you know, that amount of months to turn it around. And so I know the licensing agreements can oftentimes take some time. So just wanted to toss that question out there early. So thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on to, really, I think that actually Brian's going to take it from here to really talk about the different, hold on, was that how we were doing it? Yeah, Brian's going to take it from here on really talking about what are we looking for within each of these areas. So Brian, do you want to just tell me when to switch slides?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But yeah, we can go ahead.
And I will actually make them big now. There we go.
So let's go to the next one. So when it comes to the DBT and the CBTP programs, our goal is to establish self-sustaining training programs. Yeah, I think what we've learned, from implementation science and just real world experience is that for these kind of programs to be sustainable in community mental health settings, they need to be ongoing training programs, not one and done. We recognize that community behavioral health settings are a place for early career folks, for interns, and some come and they go and some stay hopefully, but to really have this be sustaining and also really a community resource, I think is that the goal is to establish training programs that will train at the minimum annual cohorts of clinical staff in the intervention. So our main objective here is to contract to obtain curriculum, training, and support to establish these training programs with a tentative goal of having these be self-sustaining within 3 years. Rachel was mentioning kind of the initial 16-month kind of contracting period, but with a potential to extend beyond that. We want to recognize that to fully accomplish this may take more than that 16 months, initial 16 months. The audiences are the KCICN, which provides services in outpatient and residential settings to both youth and adults. And so when it comes to content here, I do want to say we very much want to be open to your recommendations, folks that have been doing this, maybe for a while. You have your own kind of strategies and experience that certainly we want to take advantage of. So these are our initial thoughts in terms of what we believe would be helpful and sustainable. So, but just want to mention that, that we also can be flexible on when it comes to other strategies. We do, in general, have a goal of having a multidisciplinary treatment team approach for these programs, taking advantage of the full team that is available in these settings and acknowledging, some of the workforce issues too, especially when it comes to say like master's level folks. But again, from my experience as well, these things really work well when a whole team is on board and multiple disciplines can kind of bring their strengths and approach, to the program. So bachelor's level folks, case managers, peer support specialists, master's level therapists. We very much want to, I think, develop our internal champions as part of these training programs. So the initial goal would be training up the clinical staff to start providing the services or building on services and staff if they're already, some of these services present. We just so folks know too, there's a good number of agencies within the KCICN that are already doing some of these interventions. We want to include them and make these resources available to them too. So in some settings, it may just be kind of building on what is already there. But still, we want to make this widespread really across the network. So 75 new clinical staff trained each year, training up 10 trainers to be trained up within that tentative 3-year target to basically take over the training and the continuation of the program. We are imagining that to support those trainers in ongoing training of the intervention, there would be recorded didactics that could really be a help to them and ensuring some level of continued quality of the didactics as well. And then we would like to obtain curriculum and programming structure for the different levels of care within the KCICN. So that would be residential settings, as well as low, medium, and high levels of care in outpatient. And then lastly, we would really love to provide CEUs as part of this, which can be a big incentive for clinical staff to be participating. Questions about the basics of our training programs, and then we'll get into the other two, which are a bit of a different structure.
Thanks for the overview, Brian. That's helpful. I'm curious about what you're hoping to actually have delivered by the end of the 15 months. I know I'm just hoping to get clarification around delivery outcomes that are expected in the first 15 months versus what's expected by the 3 years.
That's a very good question. Again, I think we want to be open to the applicant's feedback in terms of what they believe is a reasonable outcome at 16 months. What we have imagined is training our first cohorts, standing up the treatment programs, identifying our trainers, and starting to develop them, I believe, towards oversight and continuation of the programs.
Okay. Fine. Great.
Piggybacking again, I think we're tag teaming here. The continuing education, the CEUs, what would be standard offered CEUs for a training like this?
Well, I believe typically if participants are attending structured didactics as part of this, where there's goals, there's objectives, and an opportunity, to give feedback on the session, and it's, appropriate to their license, then typically we should be able to provide CEUs. It's something, we've done within the KCICN, different agencies have been able to do this. Using a learning management system like Relias also makes this type of thing pretty easy, has been my experience. Oh, yeah.
Sorry for APA, NASW. So I just the disciplines. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear on my question. The standard disciplines that would be expected to be offered is for continuing education.
You know what? I am not on the expert, or I'm not the expert when it comes to our licensed MHPs in terms of what that kind of accrediting body would be. But whoever,
yeah, well, I was gonna say we can gather that information and get that back to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will say I believe it would be for the master's level therapists.
That's great. I think my not concern, we standardly offer social work, APA, and NBCC. The one that we're not accredited with is substance use, and I'm just wondering if that's a requirement, because that will require something else on our end that I'm trying to figure out capacity for. So the NADAC or other substance use accreditation credits, that's the one thing I'm most specifically requesting information on.
That is a great question, and I hadn't thought of that myself. It would be wonderful if we could include those folks, certainly as part of our training programs, and give them continuing ed. So we would love to investigate that ourselves, I think.
Sometimes they're covered by NBCC, but I'm actually not familiar with what the requirements are in Washington State. So you guys can figure it out and let us know, but thank you.
Brian, I got one more question. I'm just curious if there's attention and consideration that you guys have already given to incentivizing agencies that goes above and beyond CEUs to participate, especially for the identified train the trainers, knowing that it's a lift, and they're already, these are usually the individuals that would likely be identified are those that are already going above and beyond and are likely tasked with a lot within their organizations already. So I'm wondering, is there going to be any work done in the agencies themselves to kind of create incentive programs for trainers and assist with retention and shifting in job duties to allow for this kind of work to be done?
So one is, I think King County has expressed an openness to financial compensation to the agencies, to compensate for staff time that's dedicated to these trainings. We definitely recognize that, if they're dedicating staff to this, then they're not, that can take the place of billable service hours, right? That could be generating revenue, and agencies need all the revenue they can get these days. So we definitely recognize that. The details are not ironed out for that, but we will be having discussions with agencies about what is needed for them to participate, and we absolutely want to make sure they get the support they need to participate. Thus far we've just been kind of sending out feelers about what agencies would be interested in participating. We've gotten a lot of great responses, so I'm optimistic. I think there's a lot of agencies that are very interested and eager to take advantage of these things. We will also be having further discussions with those agencies about what will be needed on their end. And one of the things we have recognized, I think, is that critical role of having internal champions and leaders. Without those, these programs will tend to fall apart. So that I think these leaders need to be recognized, they need to be rewarded, they need to be retained, and if people leave, they need to be replaced.
Right.
So that's as far as we're at.
No, that's great. It sounds like you guys are already putting thought to that. And in our experience training to date, that role is really crucial. And the agencies that have done some sort of a reclassification of job title and provided financial incentive and included this in the job descriptions that they update, have a lot more success maintaining implementation and sustainment than those where it's just an additional task that's added to the current workload with pats on the back, you know, along the way.
Right. Agreed.
I cannot emphasize enough what what Shannon just said. It is utterly critical, especially I think in community mental health. So I'm just putting it out there that that is something that is a significant conversation in the whole success of this project and the funding.
I appreciate the feedback, and I think we completely agree. We very much want to emphasize sustainability in these projects. As you will see diving into the RFP, you know, that is definitely an important component. So, you know, we have, again, our ideas about what is needed for sustainability. We will be very eager to hear about your ideas around sustainability as well.
All right. I'm going to switch to the next one. All right, Brian, do you want to talk through this?
All right, so the two other projects here are also somewhat related. So these are more curriculum that we would, again, we're open to different ideas, but what we have imagined is a set of recorded didactics. One that's on behavioral health clinical core competencies, and another on management and supervision, that are kind of easily available, accessible to folks that are new to these roles. So first with the clinical core competency, the target audience here would be folks that are brand new, clinical staff that are brand new to community behavioral health within our Medicaid network of providers. We do have in mind, you know, any new clinical staff really. So this would be peer support specialists, bachelor's level folks, master's level therapists, you know, taking into account, we know that, you know, master's level folks are going to have a, you know, good amount of training in advance of coming to join, you know, community behavioral health, but still, you know, there's still a lot of things that they may not have received already. Again, you know, our thoughts here are these are probably going to be recorded didactics to be delivered within a learning management system. And that, you know, we will hopefully be able to provide CEUs attached to these. And that these will be a curriculum, you know, what we have had in mind is a purchased curriculum. You know, again, I think we can be open to different ideas, but we were just talking about sustainability, and what we would like is for these programs to be sustainable with minimal ongoing costs. So I will say that. What we have on the right here are our ideas of what we would love to have included in this clinical core competencies curriculum. These were generated with provider input, just so folks know. We did post a work group of providers, you know, that, you know, wanted to participate in this, and got a lot of great feedback to help us kind of create this curriculum. This is you know, again, a fairly exhaustive list, but there may be things that we are missing. We would love to get your input. You know, one of the questions that came up, I may go ahead and jump to, which is, you know, there is the idea too, if folks feel like they can provide some of these, you know, topics and didactics, but not all. You know, I think we are open to folks that might be able to provide some of these didactics, but that, there may be, a preference for organizations that can really provide us with a complete list, a complete curriculum. Or there's the idea that organizations might partner with other organizations to kind of fill things out. Our next one, this is all in the RFP. I know you probably didn't have time to read all of those, but it's all in the RFP. Our next one is the Behavioral Health Management Academy. So similar set of didactics and supports for folks that are brand new to a leadership position in community mental health. So a manager or a supervisor. Same audience in terms of our KCICN network of providers, delivered on a learning management system with CEUs when we can, and then financially ongoing minimal cost. And then here's our list of topics that also was generated with our provider input. Questions about these two?
On the Behavioral Health Management Academy one here, I know you have mentioned already previously on in other sections that you're open to some different ideas, even though, of course, we know ideally it's recorded didactics in the learning management system. When it comes to things like behavioral health supervisory skills and generally management, I can see there could be an argument made for more of a live train the trainer model versus recorded didactics. Is that something the county is open to considering?
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Rachel.
Well, I was going to say, absolutely. I think we're open to anything. Any ideas that, innovative ideas that are coming from you, the experts. Yeah.
We have also wondered about the idea of kind of a hybrid model when it comes to kind of asynchronous with live components. For some of these, really for both of these curriculums, it might make sense to have a recorded portion of it, but then really encourage agencies to be having like cohorts of folks kind of, do the training together and then have a live session afterwards, maybe with a trainer or, internal expert, where you can do Q&A, that kind of thing.
And I know a follow-up question to that. I think in one of the previous ones, one of the outcomes listed had been, that 10 KCICN train the trainers would be one of the outcomes. Do you see, if there is a train the trainer model for the Behavioral Health Management Academy, do you have a vision of who those trainers would be ongoing for that minimal cost ongoing sustainability piece? Would that be employees of the county? Would that be members of KCICN agencies?
Yeah, we don't have the answer to that question. I mean, we haven't developed that. I mean, Brian might be able to just give some context, but I think, yeah, we would have to kind of develop that out. We need a little more data for this.
Yeah, that would have to be developed out. I think we have not imagined county FTE, I think, being devoted to these training programs.
Right.
And then we also would like this suite of trainings, as well as the clinical core competencies, to available to every single new clinical staff member in the KCICN, which is 40 plus agencies. So there may be a bit of a challenge, there, when it comes to having just a handful of trainers. Maybe there's a way, to support trainers within each of those 40 outpatient agencies.
All right. Any other questions?
There is one question in the chat.
Okay.
Is the 400K for the initial 15 months or meant to cover the 3-year goals?
It is meant to cover the 3-year goal. Okay. All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to just some more nuts and bolts here. So the timeline, just kind of to review with everyone, that we sent out the RFP on, released it on June 5th. We're having the conference today. You can submit any other questions that you may have in a written form to Andrea. And there will be the email at the end of this, but you can submit any other questions that might come to mind as things come up to us, and we will make sure that they get added to the overall list of questions, and then all of that will then be released back to you guys for you to be able to review. Everyone will have that same information back to them. Applications are due on the 10th of July. There will be an evaluation period, and through July and August. It looks like interviews and demonstrations, we will offer those to it could be every application, or some of the top applications, and then notification and selection we hope to have done by September 1st. And that it takes a while to get things into contract here, and so the goal would be to kind of get the beginning of the contract started in October. In here is some rating criteria. I don't know if we need to go into this in in detail. You could also find this in the RFP, but hold on. That ultimately there will be these different criteria that when we're reviewing your applications, please take a look at this and be very, look at each piece and know that this is what you'll be rated on. They'll be weighted, just so over here on the side, there'll be points allotted for each of these areas, and the 190 points possible or total. And some of these areas are weighted based on the number of points. And those are also, I believe, listed in the RFP written. And then I'm going to hand it off to Andrea to go over Zoom grants. So for those of you who might not be familiar with Zoom grants, there's actually some information that we can share with you just to get you familiar. You must have your proposals in by 2 p.m. on July 10th. And Andrea, I'll let you take it from here.
Thanks, Rachel. So like Rachel said, all applications will be submitted using the third-party platform Zoom Grants. Hopefully you all have the link. I will show a demo, a quick demo in just a second on what that looks like. However, we will be closing the applications at 2 p.m. sharp, so please don't wait to submit your applications to the last minute, just in case there are technical difficulties. If you are experiencing technical difficulties, please email me as soon as you can, or you can click on the Contact Admin tab in Zoom Grants. That also messages me directly. Make sure to regularly check back with Zoom Grants under the Libraries tab, which I'll show you. That's where there will be any updates, clarifications, all the Q&A that we received today, or that we receive in writing will be all uploaded in the library there. Next slide, I think, is the demo. Yep.
And do you want me to stop sharing and then you can just take over?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. All right. I'm just looking at what okay. I'm stopping sharing.
Okay. And here. Let's see. Can you see the Zoom grant screen?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So when you click on the link, the Zoom Grants link, that's hopefully in the communication, or if you don't have it, just let me know and I'll put it in the chat when I'm done with this as well. It'll take you to this information screen. here you can find the high level details regarding the RFP. If you don't have a login to Zoom Grants, yeah, you'll have to create a username and password to be able to actually submit an application. But if you just want to see the information, it is here. So if you scroll down, you can see the description, period of performance, the timeline that Rachel just went over, the minimum qualifications for this particular RFP, how to submit applications. And here in the middle here is the library tab or the library section where you can find all of the RFP documents, attachments. This is where I'll upload the amendment for the Q&A, anything like that. If you do start an application, then I will be able to push out notifications directly from Zoom Grants to whichever email you do upload into Zoom Grants. So that's helpful as well. If you just want to receive information, make sure to at least start an application so that I can push out notifications to you. To start an application, then you will click on this blue Apply Now, Start Application button. This will then take you to each of these tabs. Zoom Grants does work on a tab system. So you'll see the summary tab is your basic information. We also collect where you serve clients. It's a council mandated question for every RFP, so you can click on those. It's not scored. We also have a high-level question regarding ARPA, and to make sure that you review all the ARPA requirements that are in these this attachment A. There are a lot, and so we just want to make sure everybody is aware of them, and so this is an attestation question here. To start your application, you'll just go to this Applications Questions tab, and here's where you will input all of your responses. So you'll pick which training you want to apply for and then work through each question. If you want to apply for more than one training, you will have to submit more than one application so that we can separate them out and score them separately. Please remember when you are, if you're copying and pasting responses, say from a Word document or Notepad or something, Zoom Grants does not like formatting. So any kind of bullets, underline, subscript, any kind of formatting, make sure you delete all of that before you copy and paste into these boxes. Otherwise, you'll get this green save button of death, we call it, because it'll just stay there and twirl forever. So once you work through all of your questions, you can then go to the Documents tab where you can upload the required documents of your budget and any references, and then also with any supplemental documents that might apply to any of the questions. However, that's not, they're not required. Once you're done, you can hit the submit button. Zoom Grants will automatically make sure that you have submitted everything that is required. If you haven't, it'll stop you. If it has, you should receive a email. The word is escaping me, but you know what I mean. You'll receive a confirmation email saying that your application has been submitted. And here is that contact admin tab that will email me directly, or you can use the email that I put in the chat. Any questions on Zoom Grants? Okay.
All right. Thanks, Andrea. And the last, we're really kind of at the end. We do want to let's see, I'm gonna share my slides again. Zoom share. Do you think we'll ever get absolutely used to doing this? I mean, it should be first. I can't even get the Zoom thing to pop up. Give me just 1 sec, you guys. Man, all right, there we go.
Hang in there, Rachel.
Got it. I'm like, oh, just it. How can it beats me every time? I'm like, it shouldn't be this hard. All right, so PowerPoint and now Zoom. really, we just have a slide that is a question slide. So I think that, it's kind of your last hurrah to ask any questions. I do want to touch on this. We did have one written submitted question that was submitted to Andrea this week, and it was, I think Brian already touched on it. So, is it possible to respond to select aspects of the RFP and budget accordingly, or is the expectation that proposals will address all components of the stated deliverables? And so the written response really was that organizations can bid for one or more of the 4 areas of trainings. You can also choose to bid for a portion of one of the 4 areas, although preference may be given to organizations that are bidding to provide the complete package of training for the chosen area. Please select the aspects of your RFP that you'd like to apply for and prepare the budget to only include those that you're applying for. So proposals should be tailored to only address the components of the RFP for which you're applying. And I think that Andrea kind of touched on that. If you're applying for one, different sections, you will want to submit separate applications because each of them have a bucket of money associated. And I'll just go to the slide, which is, Andrea put this in the chat. I think, Andrea, do we generally send out these slides after this as well?
Yeah, I'll upload them all to Zoom Grants. So the recording of this session, the slide deck, and all the Q&A will be uploaded in the library section of Zoom Grants.
Okay, great. Any other questions from anyone? All righty. I think that wraps us up.
Thanks, you guys, for the review.